Good evening, ham radio operators. The time is 8 p.m. Central, and it is time for the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday night. All regular amateur traffic, please stand by because you're now listening to the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday night net. This net is heard every Thursday night here on the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club frequencies in the University Link repeater system. Is there any emergency or priority traffic on this frequency? Hearing none, we'll move forward. I am transmitting tonight from Dripping Springs using the 147.320 repeater, affectionately known as the Oak. For more information regarding the club's repeater system, and how to become a member, please visit n50ak.org. You can also participate in this net using the University Link repeater system. For more information about the University Link system, please visit ka5d.com. If you're outside of Austin, we'd love to hear from you too. The way to get in is via Echolink by connecting to KA5D-R or K5TMT-R. You can also reach us via All-Star by connecting to node 51444. If you are listening through the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system and wish to participate, be sure you set your tone to 114.8. For the University Link repeater system, the tone is 97.4. For club members, we also have our very own Thursday night net discussion and video net channel in the Discord. So swing on by and say hello to the folks hanging out there during the net. My name is Steve, Kilo India 5, Uniform Kilo Foxtrot, and I'll be your net controller for this evening. This is a controlled net, meaning that stations should refrain from transmitting until designated check-in or comment times. If you're a new ham or just new to the net, the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday night net is a social net. We get together every week to share knowledge, ask questions, and just hang out. It's very easy to check into the net. In just a bit, I'll ask for check-ins and take down a list of all stations who want to participate. Once we have everybody checked in, I'll go down the list one at a time and give you the floor. Feel free to ask questions pertaining to ham radio, tell us about something you've been working on, or just say hi. If you missed the first round of check-ins, don't worry. We'll grab you on the next round. Please avoid topics of politics, religion, or anything else potentially inflammatory. Let's keep it nice, clean, and appropriate. We have young hams participating and listening. It is time for station identification and the opening of the net for check-in. Please stand by. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday night net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N50AK. If you're joining us through the Oak Hill Amateur Club repeater system and wish to participate, that tone again is 114.8. On the University Link repeater system, the tone is 97.4. Once again, I am Steve, KI5UKF, and I am your net controller for tonight's net. Before we get into the regular programming, it's time for short time check-ins. Short time check-ins means operators who cannot stay for the entire net. I will not open the floor for comments or questions of the short timers after their turn. That way you can call in, say hi, get on the log, and get on with your evening. If you check in as a short timer and later want to rejoin the net, please feel free to recheck in during regular check-ins. So if you're busy tonight but still want to check in, I'm looking for short time check-ins only. And if you could please give me your name and your call sign phonetically and a little slow for the slow kids. Come on now, short time check-in.
This is Kilo Alpha 5 Delta, Kyle, Austin, no traffic.
This is Kilo India 6, Hotel Quebec Tango, Ken in South Austin, no traffic.
This is KI5YAA, Marshall in South Austin, back after a month, no traffic.
This is Kilo Juliet 5, Alpha Victor Juliet, Bill, down in Buda. No traffic, just wanted to thank you for doing the net. Just wanted to check in and have a great weekend.
Anyone else want to check in on the short time? Once again, feel free. You can check in on short time, and if you get to hang out a little bit longer than you thought, you can check in on regular check-ins later on. So anybody else for short time check-ins, come now with your name and call sign phonetically, please. Well, all right. We had a slew of no traffics tonight, but we had Kyle. Hello, Kyle. We had Ken and Marshall and Bill, all of whom had no traffic. So we will move on to the next part of our programming. Hope all of you fellows are doing okay and have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your evening. Before we get into regular check-ins, we're going to review a question or two from the FCC's current general exam, current as in just the July. They released a new set of questions. So if you have a technician license, this will give you a sample of what that test is about. If you've already passed your general exam, it's always a good thing to review the material. And tonight we want to thank Cody, KI5YLS, for going over tonight's questions. Cody? All right, I know Cody normally is out of town and visits us with Echolink, and it may be that he's having some technical issues tonight. I don't know if he reached out to anybody else, but is anybody else with the club ready to do any questions? And if not, we'll move on to our next item. All right, then we'll save those questions for another week, and let's do a station ID. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, Thursday Night Net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N50AK. We're here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. If you're just joining us now, and you're on the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system, the tone is 114.8. If you're on the University Link repeater system, the tone is 97.4. My name again is Steve, KI5UKF, and I will be your net controller for tonight's net. We're now going to pass the mic over to James, KA5UXW, who's going to cover tonight's ham radio news. James, the mic is yours.
Hey, howdy, y'all. This is James, KI5UXW, Kilo India 5, Uniform X-Ray Whiskey, and I've got the news for y'all tonight. I'm coming off of figuring out how to wind a toroid from an end-fed half-wave, and I am just about gone insane, so I'm grateful for the break. So let's dive right into the news. So first things first, we got some stuff from the ARRL. From their website, going to read some news articles from there. So ARRL files comments against, quote, seriously flawed, unquote, HF rules petition. The National Association for Amateur Radio, as a part of its mission to protect amateur radio, has filed comments against a proposal that would introduce high-power digital communications to the shortwave spectrum that in many instances are immediately adjacent to the amateur HF bands. The, quote, Shortwave Modernization Coalition, abbreviation SMC, unquote, which represents certain high-frequency stock trading interests, filed a petition with the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, and ARRL responded on behalf of its members and the 7,600,000 licensees of the amateur radio service in the U.S. The ARRL laboratory performed a detailed technical analysis over several months to determine if the proposed rules would affect operations on the bands allocated to radio amateurs that are intermixed with the Part 90 bands in the spectrum in question. ARRL's Sorry, y'all, 1 second, I actually tripped out my radio. Alright, where was I? ARRL's analysis determined that if the proposed rules are adopted, the new operations will inevitably cause significant harmful interference to many users of the adjacent and nearby spectrum, including amateur radio licensees. Ed Hare, W1RFI, a 37-year veteran of the ARRL lab and an internationally recognized expert on radio frequency interference, was the principal investigator on the study. Hare concluded that the petition should not be granted because, quote, this petition seeks to put a 50 kilohertz wide 20,000 watt signals immediately next to 7 different amateur bands with weaker protections against interference than required in other services, said Hare. In its formal opposition, ARRL stated that, quote, destructive interference would result if operations commenced using anything close to the proposed maximum levels. ARRL filed comments, highlighted flawed analysis and incomplete data submitted by the petitioners. It noted the petitioners, quote, significantly understate the harmful interference that is not just likely but certain if the rules proposed by SMC are adopted as proposed. It is noteworthy that SMC's proposed rules will provide less protection than much lower power amateur radio transmitters are required to provide Part 90 receivers, unquote. ARRL's opposition also noted that there were no reported tests conducted with amateur or affected stations. For reference, a spectrum capture in comments filed with the Dayton group that showed actual interference to the amateur 20-meter band from one of the high-frequency trading experimental stations. Part 90 HF rules currently authorize a maximum signal bandwidth equal to voice communications channel at up to 1,000 watts peak envelope power. The petition seeks multiplication of signal width, greater transmitted power, and weaker rules that protect for users of adjacent spectrum. ARRL's comments expose likely fallout. Quote, incredibly, notwithstanding the significant increase in potential interference that would result from using digital schemes with 50 kilohertz bandwidth and 20 kilowatts of power, SMC also proposes to substantially lessen the protections required to protect adjacent and neighboring licenses. SMC proposes out-of-band emissions that offer less protection than the existing Part 90 limits and would actually permit no attenuation, 0 decibels, at the edge. Sorry, y'all, dropped out there for a second. Many of which are bands allocated and heavily used in the amateur radio service, consistent with lessening protections while increasing the potential for harmful interference. SMC also proposed a lower limit for spurious emissions. SMC would reduce the existing protection of negative 73 decibels for the applicable 1 kilowatt power limit to just negative 50 decibels for protection for the proposed 20 kilowatt limit. Due to the much wider 50 kilohertz of proposed bandwidth, the resulting interference would penetrate deep into the adjacent amateur bands. The proposal has been assigned FCC docket number RM11953. While period for commenting on the petition is now closed, replies to the comments in the record may now be submitted. Hundreds of licensed radio amateurs filed comments in the docket, expressing overwhelming opposition to the proposal. Those interested may read ARRL's full comments and the results of the technical analysis, which are included in the filing. If granted as written, it would be devastating to the amateur operation for many tens of kilohertz into our bands, said Hare. ARRL will continue to advocate for its members in the amateur radio service in this proceeding. Alrighty then, folks. Apologies that my radio keeps tripping out here. Apparently it doesn't like transmitting for too long. Not the best SWR, but bear with me. So let's move to a little bit of, I guess, lighter news, thankfully. The Hurricane WatchNet seeks bilingual net control operators. The Hurricane WatchNet is looking for new members who are willing to train to become net control operators. HWN is especially interested in recruiting bilingual operators who are fluent in Spanish and English or French/Creole and English. Net control responsibilities can entail hours of duty to ensure all received ground truth weather reports are directly forwarded to the National Hurricane Center of Miami. The net generally activates whenever a system has achieved hurricane status is within 300 statute miles of a populated landmass. This can vary, however, due to forward speed and intensity of the storm, or at the request of forecasters at the National Hurricane Center. Once activated, the HWN continuously operates until the storm is no longer a threat to life and property. The mission of the net is to disassemble the latest advisories, disseminate the latest advisories issued by the National Hurricane Center, and to obtain real-time ground-level weather conditions and initial damage assessments from amateur radio operators in the affected areas. The net then relays that information to the National Hurricane Center by the way of Whiskey X-Ray 4 November Hotel Charlie, and when required, the Canadian Hurricane Center. It also functions as a backup communication link for the National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service forecast offices, the Canadian Hurricane Center, emergency operations centers, emergency management agencies, non-government organizations, and other vital interests that can involve military relief operations. Such operations can be involved in the protection of life and property before, during, and after hurricane events. HWN Manager Bobby Graves, Kilo Bravo 5 Hotel Alpha Victor, says that training will be provided with each candidate and will go through a probationary period with the mentor. Graves, an ARRL member, says an applicant's station must be reliable. While having a tower, beam, and or amplifier is not a requirement, your station must allow you to hear and be heard. Therefore, directional antennas and amplifiers are preferred. The net coverage area includes the hurricane-prone areas of eastern Canada, the United States East Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. The net specifically seeks applicants of the middle to west sections of the United States, Canada, Central America, and the Caribbean. Quote, as always, the HWN is hoping for a quiet season, and yet we are prepared for the worst, unquote, said Graves. Those interested in learning more can visit the Hurricane WatchNet net control information webpage. If you go to the ARRL website, you can click on the article and get the links. I refuse to read it aloud. So, moving on over, we got another piece of news here from ARRL. So apparently the ARRL NASA teamed up to help teachers. A radio experiment was held on July 26, 2023 to decode a slow-scan television image sent to the ham radio station on the International Space Station. And it was successful. The image was received by a group of educators at the headquarters of the National Association for Amateur Radio in Newington, Connecticut, with the voice repeater on the ISS. Teachers from around the United States were on hand for the ARRL Teachers Institute on Wireless Technology, a program that empowers educators to incorporate amateur radio into their science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, curriculum. As a part of the professional development program, the group received and decoded the image sent by volunteers with amateur radio on the International Space Station, ARISS, and the transmitted image said ARRL's Teachers Institute ensuring a space for radio in the next generation. Apparently, the teachers thought it was pretty darn cool. Quote, amateur radio is so important to the future of engineering in our country, unquote, said Kristen Kuko, Kilo Quebec 4 Echo Charlie Papa, one of the Institute participants. The group gathered outside the ARRL headquarters with the antennas they had made earlier in the day, and looking at the photos, those appear to be tape measure Yagis. And as the pass happened, the educators tracked the ISS by hand. A warble of SSS TV transmission filled the air, and the group was pretty excited. After the pass, they used laptops to decode the audio stream into an image, while they sat on picnic tables enjoying pizza and wings. For the ARRL Education and Learning Manager, Steve Goodgame, K5ATA, Kilo 5 Alpha Tango Alpha, the experiment was a way to allow teachers to engage with the power radio. Quote, when teachers can pull an image off the International Space Station via amateur radio, it gives a sense of accomplishment that gets them excited. We want them to get fired up about radio so they can carry that energy back to their classrooms and do the same thing with their students, unquote, said Goodgame. Each of the teachers on hand for the second phase of the Institute, the TI2 Remote Sensing and Data Analysis, have already been through the introductory course and are all licensed radio amateurs. Woohoo! The Institute amazingly costs teachers nothing to attend thanks to the funding from the awesome ARRL Education and Technology program. It's pretty neat. My own radio club, K5LBJ, actually, we got our start from this organization, or not this organization, but the Education Technology program back under its old name. Anyways, back on focus here, we're going to hop on over to QRZ.com. and I'm going to tell you all a little bit more about a solar eclipse QSO party. So, HamSci presents the Solar Eclipse QSO party on October 4th, 2023. Join with thousands of your fellow radio amateurs as part of the largest crowdsourced contest for ham radio scientific exploration ever. The SEQP Sierra Echo Quebec Papa is for learning more about how the ionosphere works. Use any mode, any band, or for all or part of the day. Participation can be from everywhere. You do not need to be past of either the eclipse to contribute in valuable data by participants. For details on the SEQP contest and rules, go to www.hamsci.org/contest-info. And for the Gladstone Signal Spotting Challenge using CW Whisper FST 4W modes, go to, I guess, the same website I mentioned earlier, www.hamsci.org/contest-info. And if you're a shortwave listener or an AMDXer, there's an event for you as well. Go to hamsci.org/MW-recordings. So, save the dates, get on the air, send in your logs, and do it all for science. HamSci serves as a means for fostering collaboration between professional researchers and amateur radio operators. It assists in developing and maintaining standards and agreements between all people and organizations involved. Its goals are to advance scientific research and understanding through amateur radio activities and encourage the development of new technologies to support this research. For more information about HamSci, please visit the HamSci website at hamsci.org. And for more information about the Festivals of Eclipse, Ionospheric Science, that's a mouthful, educational opportunities for the amateur radio community and the public, please visit their information pages. You can also contact Ed Chevak, their public information officer, with the email address pressrelations, no spaces, all lowercase, at hamsci.org. Alright then, taking y'all almost out of the solar system here next, we're going to talk about Voyager 2. So, 2-degree separation stood between NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft and its ability to communicate with Earth due to a faulty command in July that changed the critical orientation of its antenna, but now thankfully that's been fixed from a distance of more than 12 billion miles. Really, it's quite the long shot, as long as a stretch of 12 billion miles, but NASA's Deep Space Network sent a command from its highest power transmitter in Canberra, Australia, in an attempt to correct the 2-degree shift of the antenna that had knocked the space probe out of contact with Earth last month. Apparently, and quite thankfully, their attempt worked. The space agency took a literal shot in the dark on Wednesday, August 2nd, but believed it was essential to reestablish communications with the probe, which was launched into interstellar space 46 years ago. The command traveled the distance, taking more than 18 hours to deliver its message, and in another 18 and a half hours after that, NASA was celebrating success. NASA compared the transmission to a, quote, interstellar shout, unquote, one that worked. The agency said in an update afterwards that Voyager 2 had returned to normal operation, sending signs and telemetry as before. Thankfully, it is expected to remain on its intended trajectory. And coming back here on Earth, but moving over a continent or two, apparently there's been a new agreement between the African Telecommunication Union and the International Amateur Radio Union. So, praising ham radio for its responsiveness in a crisis, the Secretary General of the African Telecommunications Union signed an agreement with the International Amateur Radio Union advocating for expanded use of ham radio during emergencies in African nations. The agreement places a special emphasis on ham radio's role in the 51 African countries that belong to the ATU. Both organizations pledge to cooperate when preparing and responding to crises. A large part of the pact involves coordinating workshops and training programs and stepping up the promotion of STEM education in Africa through the use of amateur radio. F4 GKR, the president of AIRU Region 1, said that the agreement would also have been an impact on regulatory changes that are needed for amateur radio in Africa. As he signed a pact, he told those in attendance, quote, this is our first step to initiating a collaborative approach that is keen to find solutions and to ensure a conducive environment for amateur radio operations in the region. So, I guess two more news articles here. So we're going to have amateur radio television on permanent display in the UK. The Radio Society of Great Britain isn't changing location's name to National Radio and Amateur TV Centre, but yes, visitors are seeing some very visible changes in television screen and a permanent new display there. Amateur radio TV has become the newest attraction at the National Radio Centre at Bleckley Park, where visitors can interact with the touchscreen and select signals to be received from the geostationary satellite QO100. The signals are being transmitted on a wideband segment. The television configuration was created with the help of the British Amateur Television Club, and it allows visitors to see the signal decoded and displayed on a large monitor. The satellite's wideband transponder has downlinks on a, 10.419 megahertz and 10.498 megahertz, and uses horizontal polarization. It's a part of a permanent display at the radio center. The RSGP credits Justin, Golf 8 Yankee Tango Zulu with its design and for assisting the BATV club with the configuration. So for those of y'all who are big in satellite work, this news article might be more up y'all's alley. So apparently there's been some antenna issues with Spain satellite. The Eurosat Sat-1 Pocket Cube satellite of Spain's National Amateur Radio Society needs your help. More specifically, the satellite's antennas need your help. Launched on June 12th and sent into orbit on June 22nd, the satellite has been unable to deploy them. Even with limited antenna capabilities, the Eurosat-1 has been able to send CW, telemetry, and SSTV images, but a solution is needed so the issue can be remedied. The Euro is reaching out to groups that may have a VHF station powerful enough to transmit a successful request to the satellite's antenna system to deploy. Additional details can be found about the satellite by visiting the link here, Eurosat.ure.es. So that's Uniform Romeo Echo Sierra Alpha Tango Uniform Romeo Echo Sierra. So I think I've hogged the net long enough. So this is James KI5UXW. Now finally done with the news, and I'll return this back to Net Control.
Well, thank you, James. Lots of interesting stories there. Thank you so much for volunteering and agreeing to do the news tonight. I did hear through the miracle of our Discord channel that Cody has joined us, so we're gonna kick her into R and back up a little bit and go back to Cody KI5YLS for tonight's ham radio general exam questions. Mike's yours, Cody.
Thank you, Steve. This is Cody KI5YLS here to do the general exam news. So if you're studying for your general exam, get ready because I'm finna quiz you. We're gonna do 3 questions tonight, and the first question goes as follows: what are the names of the 2 electrodes of a diode? Is it A, plus and minus, B, source and drain, C, anode and cathode, or D, gate and base? We're going to start with the technician. So if you got a technician's license, come forward with your call sign and your answer choice. I'll be waiting.
This is KG5PKP. I'm going to go with A.
Alright, we got an answer choice for A, plus and minus. In case y'all haven't heard, I'm going to read the answer choices one more time. We got A, plus or minus, B, source and drain, C, anode and cathode, D, gate and base. Still technicians, come on, I know we got some technicians out there, so come on with y'all's answers. Alright, after hearing nothing, we're going to open up the floor for everyone. if you got a general exam, show them the answer. If you're here to study, then come forward with your call sign and let's hear 'em.
N5LX, I'm going to go with C.
Anode, cathode.
Alright, I got Sky, N5LX with C. There was a second one there if they want to come back, give it a second kind of to transmit in and give me your answer again.
N5SMO, anode, cathode.
Alright, we got 2 for C. One last chance. Any other people want to come in for an answer?
James KI5UXLB will pick the answer that's cathode and anode.
That's 3 answers for C. Alright, we can go ahead and say that C was the correct answer. So congratulations to the people who chose C. I'm going to reset this so I don't hit the repeater, and then we will go with question number 2. Alright, question number 2 is which semiconductor component has an emitter electrode? Is it A, bipolar transistor? Is it B, field effect transistor? Is it C, silicone diode? Or D, bridge rectifier? I can't speak today apparently. I'm sorry, this is going to be for the technicians only for right now. So technicians, if you got an answer choice, come forward with your call sign and your answer. Come on now. Y'all technicians are sleeping tonight. Where are my technicians at? Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor to everyone after nothing heard. Come on forward with your call sign and answer choice.
N5LX, I'm going with A.
Jim, KJ5AZP, I'm going to go with B. Bravo.
Alright, we got 1A and 1B. Any other ones need any other people here to answer? Alright, after nothing heard, we're going to say that A was the correct answer. So congratulations to who picked A. And I'm going to reset and we'll go with the last question of the night. So get prepared. Totally realized I didn't hit the button. Alright, final question is, which of the following circuits demodulates FM signals? Is it A, limiter, B, discriminator, C, product detector, or D, phase inverter? We're going to go ahead and open up to the technicians. Don't sleep on me now. Come on. With your call sign and answer.
KJ5AZPD? Delta?
Alright, we got a D for Delta. Any other technicians want to try to answer this? Take a shot at it. I'll read it again. Which of the following circuits demodulates FM signals? Is it A, limiter, B, discriminator, C, product detector, or D, phase inverter? Technicians, come forward.
PKP. I'm going to go with D.
I believe you said D. If you want to try to come again and correct me or tell me wrong if it wasn't D.
This is KG5 PKP. Yes, sir, it was D, like in David.
Alright, so we've got 2 for D. Now we're going to open the floor up to everyone. Come show us what the correct answer is.
N5 SMO D, discriminator.
KI5UX, I'll be here. I'm going to guess D.
Alright, so we got 3 total for D and 1 for B. One last chance. Anybody want to come forward and give a shot at answering this question? Alright, after nothing heard, we've got a winner, and it's the one person who picked B, discriminator. So all you D answer choices, I'm sorry, but you didn't get it. I'm going to pass it on back on over to Steve, the net controller, and y'all have a good night.
Cody, thank you so much for coming in and doing the questions for us. Let's do a station ID. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday Night Net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N50AK. And now we're going to talk a little bit about some Fox News. For those of you active in the club, you know the club has a very active fox hunting program, and one of our very steady volunteers and fox hiders is Sky N5LX, who's here to tell us a little bit about what's going on this week or recently with Fox News. Sky, the mic's yours.
All right, thanks. This is N5LX. I hope my signal's getting in. Welcome to this week's Radio Direction Finding Fox Hunt News for the weekend of August 5th and 6th. We had one Fox transmitter out this last weekend, and it was located south of the river, and it was hosted by Ray, K5BZI. At least for me, the location was a bit unexpected, but it was fun, and Ray said he may want to use that spot again, so I'm not going to give it away. Let's see. So the weather was hot, no surprise there, but not too bad for those who got up early. I will give you a list of the successful fox hunters for this last weekend. They managed to get their names into the logbook, and at the top of the list, I've got Mark, N5UMT, Dirk, AF5WW, William, KC6ARO, and Jeffrey, KI5MVF. Haven't seen him on one of those logbooks in a while, so it was good to see him there. And I signed it as well, N5LX. I'm going to reset. If you went fox hunting but you didn't manage to get into the logbook this time, maybe you had a gear malfunction or just ran out of time, thanks for participating, and we all wish you better luck on the next hunt. Maybe, refine your skills a little bit, and if nothing else, definitely enjoy the adventure. I know we all do. We like discovering new places. I guess to wind things up, I'll just say again, I've said it before, but for those who haven't yet tried fox hunting, if you think you might be interested, you can go to the n5oak.org website and just look under the tab that says Fox Hunts for details on upcoming hunts. Or you can go to the N5OAK Discord site and check out the Fox Hunt and Fox Hunt Maps channels for up-to-date information on also we have ongoing conversations about like how many mosquito and chigger bites we got on the last hunt. And I'm going to reset real quick. About the art of radio direction finding, and if you click on the pinned messages icon in the upper right corner, you can find more information on fox hunting techniques, instructions on how to build tape measure Yagi antennas, how to make fox hunt maps, and there's usually some videos on there too, kind of some tutorials. If you think you might want to host a fox hunt, the club has a transmitter that Philip AC5G put together So if you think you might be interested in that, you can get in touch maybe with Rusty or just strike up a conversation about it on the Discord channel, and we can probably make that happen. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Fox centers have put together their own transmitters, but anybody who wants to host one is always welcome. That's really a fun part of it, I think. That's about it. I'm planning on hosting a Fox hunt this weekend, and hopefully there will be somebody else. It's always fun when we have, a couple of foxes out there. But anyway, that's all for now, and thanks for listening to the Fox Hunt News. This is N5LX, back to net control.
Sky, thanks for that report, and also thank you for your very consistent volunteer work and hiding those transmitters for the club to hunt down. Always lots of fun. All right, well, it's time for club news. Normally that's our president. However, due to a recent magnetic storm, he was whisked away into the presidential bunker. So per N5OAK constitutional regulations, the vice president has subsumed his duties. So now we're going to hear from Ernesto, KI5PZN. Mike's yours, Ernesto.
This is KI5PZN with the club official business. We have 2 new members since last week's net. We currently have 557 members. That's a big number, y'all. All right, we want to welcome James, KJ5AZP, and Brent, KJ5CBY, are the new last 2 members, new to members to the club. I can't talk tonight either. And a quick reminder, we have N5OAK gear available online. Go to N5OAK.org and look for the N5OAK gear tab. We got cool stuff over there, so go and check that out. The next club meeting will be Saturday, October the 21st at the Austin branch of the Austin Public Library, located on the corner of Exposition Boulevard and Bowman Avenue. Check out the website or the meeting channel on Discord for all of the details. A new license or exam session will happen right after the quarterly meeting on October the 21st. So if you know anybody who would like to get licensed, or if you would like to upgrade your license, that's a great time to do that. You can sign up online at n5oak.org and click on Get Licensed to reserve a spot.
Question?
5LX. We have a Fox hunt this weekend. He'll be hosting a Fox. We don't know if there are going to be any more, but for sure now that's the one we have on the list. Thanks, Sky, for making that happen. New nets. We have a couple of new nets. We have the weekly YL net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. And also we have the Absolute Tech net on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. In N5OAK, we're going to have the N5OAK Park Potluck on November the 4th at the McKinney Falls State Park. So put that on your calendar. And let's see what else we have here. We have the K5LBJ Saturday morning net at 10 a.m. on the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system and the University Link repeater system as well. The DMR repeater, don't forget we have a DMR repeater, and the DMR repeater's got net throughout the week, so go and check on the n5oak.org to see all the details on the DMR nets. We have a calendar there with all of the nets, so go and check that out.
Question, please?
Go ahead.
This N5WRW. What VEC do the clubs use? I realize we're talking about two clubs at the same time.
I'm one of the VEs, but because I'm a VE in a couple of clubs, I can't remember right now. So I don't know if let's see who's if Philip is around. Philip, are you around by any chance? No?
I was W5YI and ARRL at one point, but that was a long time ago.
It's at W5YI. I got a message there on Discord. Thank you, David. I'll double check that, but that's the one.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that. All right, the calendar, the easiest way to stay up to date is to subscribe to the official club calendar. Head over to n5oak.org and click on the calendar tab to make it happen. If you have any photos or QSL cards that you would like to share on the website, head over to the comment box channel on Discord and submit them there. Next club meeting is going to be on October the 21st, and the same thing goes for the next VE session. And one last reminder here, don't forget that every Saturday morning we get together for breakfast at Waterloo Ice House on 8600 Burnett Road. That's just south of 183. We get there around 8 a.m. and we stay there for a couple of hours. It's a great group of people, great way to meet new hams as well. So keep that in mind every Saturday around 8 a.m. for a couple of hours at the Waterloo Ice House on Burnett Road, just south of 183. That's it for official news. Back to Net Control. This is KI5PZN.
Ernesto, thank you for those updates. Let's do a station ID. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday Night Net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N50AK. We're here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. If you're just joining us through the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, make sure you set your tone to 114.8. If you're using the University Link repeater system, set your tone to 97.4. My name is Steve, KI5UKF, and I am your net controller for tonight's net. I will be looking for regular check-ins shortly. No membership in the club is required. Any licensed operator is welcome to check in. Before we start with check-ins, I want to propose, just one question to everybody. What is your best guess on the first day that we'll have in the Austin area under 100 degrees? Let's get a little bit of a pool going here. New hams are encouraged to check in. If you've been listening to us for 47 minutes now, this is your time to get to use your microphone. So we would love to hear from you. So I would like anybody now to come on with your call sign and your name. The hardest part of this gig as a net controller is getting down the call signs accurately, so I really appreciate it if you could go slow on those call signs and use your phonetics, and that way I can make sure I get you in the log. Come on now with your call sign and your name.
This is November 5 Sierra Mike Oscar Bill.
This is November 5 Lima X-Ray.
This is Kilo India 5 Papa Zulu November, Ernesto.
This is
Kilo Golf 5 Papa Kilo Papa Jerry.
This is N5WRW November 5 Whiskey Romeo Whiskey.
This is Jim Kilo Juliet 5 Alpha Zulu Papa.
This is Kilo 5 Bravo Mike Romeo Brandon in South Austin.
This is Kilo India 5 Yankee Lima Sierra Cody in Fort Hood, Killeen.
This is David, November 5 Yankee Alpha November here in North Campus.
Any other regular check-ins before we go back up to Bill and check in with him? Any other regular check-ins? All right, Bill, when do you think we're going to get down into the double digits?
Hey, Steve, thanks for running the net. Good to hear you.
I'm going to say my lucky 13 days from now, I'm going to say August 23rd will be a below 100 day, and but it won't be the last one, not by a long shot for the summer. But hey, nothing really much new on the radio front for me. Just kind of checking in for the numbers and hanging out and listening for a while, and that's all really I have. So I'll turn it back over to you, Steve, KI5UKF, and the group on the N508K Thursday night net. Back to you.
All right, Bill, I know you're a DX guy, so have you been doing any DX lately? I've been kind of out of town for about 2 consecutive weeks. Just curious how the bands have been.
They have been up and down. There's been some big solar events over the past week, and there were some like short-lived HF blackouts. But all that stuff's ramping up and ramping down. You can get some really good paths open up. But I didn't really look into anything new that I haven't gotten already. There was Australia on 10 meters in Hawaii. That was about the high point of it. And that was, that's kind of normal right now for like the late afternoon. But nothing new and exciting like the previous week. Back to net.
Sounds good, Bill. Nice chatting with you. Anybody have anything for Bill tonight? All right, Bill. Well, thanks for checking in. All right, Bill. Well, thanks for hopefully maybe some of that solar stuff will kind of even out for us, and we can get into some good enjoy some of the peak here. All right, let's move on next to Sky N5LX. Sky, what's going on tonight?
Hey, this is N5LX. Thanks for hosting the net. Not much going on. Haven't spent much time outside, I guess, like most folks. So yeah, it's been hot. I don't know. I'm just going to throw out a wild guess. Maybe it'll drop below 100 about mid-October. I'll say maybe the 18th, something like that. So let's see, what I've been up to. I got a hold of a damaged Arrow 3-element 2-meter beam antenna, and they're little aluminum elements. I guess I could try to find a couple of elements, and get it fixed. But I decided instead I'm going to trim it down and convert it up to a higher band, just trimming off the damaged ends and trimming the gamma match. So, I could tune it for 220, but I've decided to go ahead and trim it down to work on 440. It'll be a really small, kind of nice compact antenna. It'll only be 3 elements, but it should have really good performance, and it'll be useful for radio direction finding if I ever want to do that. You can actually use that for chasing down harmonics, if you're looking for RFI. So that's my latest project. And that's about it. Just hello to everybody else out there. This is N5LX, back to net control.
Well, Sky, I know that you are truly a master antenna builder. I've seen some of your work before at Summer Field Day. Curious about the lengths on those beams. I know that for wire antennas, there's all kinds of great websites where you can, type in the frequency you want, and you can get the half wave and get it's basically the simple division. Are there websites that tell you how long each of those 3 beams need to be on a beam antenna?
That's a good question, and I'm still kind of scratching my head over the theory of Yagis. Apparently it makes a difference as to whether, what your what do you call it? The elements obviously are going to be conductive, but is it the beam, I guess? I can't remember. One of you guys can help me out. But the part that connects the elements, sometimes, the Fox Hunt tape measure Yagis use PVC. The Arrow, for example, uses aluminum. And that makes a little bit of a difference, I think, in terms of the way you tune it. And there are a bunch of, if you just put a search string on Google, there are a bunch of calculators out there for Yagis, and I'm going to reset. One of the things I've noticed is that so far, I think all but one of the links I've found as a construction project to kind of give you an idea of what the dimensions are for PVC tape measure Yagis. They all look like they're modeled after the same plan, and it doesn't seem to jive with any of the calculators. And I noticed that the Arrow antenna uses different spacing on the elements. And there's no question, the Arrow has much better performance. I compared the two. I built my PVC tape measure Yagis according to the plans that I found online. It was just kind of a convention. Apparently everybody seems to be copying that design. And the Arrow that uses different spacing, it has, at least a couple of S units better performance. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It might have something to do with the diameter of the elements and maybe the shape of the tape measure, or it could be the spacing of the thing that's different. Another reset real quick. The thing that's different about the PVC Yagi plans that I've seen is that the reflector element, the one in the very back, is spaced closer than the calculators will give, the dimensions that the calculators will give you. So I think I'm gonna try building another tape measure Yagi using the dimensions that I get from the calculators, which seem to be consistent. And I don't pretend to know the theory of how a Yagi works. All I know is they work really well. That's about it. I mean, I'll post some links on Discord, and you guys can kind of decide for yourselves. But it's pretty interesting. N5LX, back to you.
That sounds pretty interesting, Sky. Yeah, I think the physics or the electromagnetic radiation methodology of the Yagi, I think, is just a lot more complex than a dipole, the way that the beams work. So it would be really interesting to understand the science behind that. If anybody, maybe somebody has a comment to follow up with you on that. So does anybody have anything for Sky tonight? Over.
N5SML.
Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Sky. Just a couple of things. The Arrow antenna, they got their name because they were made from arrow shafts, from aluminum arrow shafts. And Austin Archery Country, which is like on 183, just like a half a block north of Covert Jeep Dodge, they sell bare naked arrow shafts for people that want to build their own arrows, which will probably work just fine on the Arrow antenna. They also sell replacement parts, because I have one of their 6-meter beams and I needed parts for it, and I had no problem getting replacement parts from them. And lastly, I have one of those antennas. If you want the measurements for what it should be, I'd be happy to measure mine and give that to you. And let me let it drop here. And one other thing regarding the boom and whether it's conductive or insulating, the good calculators have a checkbox where you check that, and what it does is it affects slightly the length of the elements, not by very much. It does make a difference, but it's not like as big as you would think, because the boom is basically passing through the null point, right, where it's a current node and a current minima and a voltage minima. So I think that's right for a dipole, right? When you feed it, I don't know. I have to look. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's that's a null. That's a null node. So it doesn't have that big of an effect on it. It's a slight effect because of the capacitive coupling you get with the melt boom. But that's it. So let me turn it back over to you, Sky, N5SMO.
That's really good information. Those are the Yagi. I think it's the half-wave dipole and the highest voltages on the ends, and so there's a null in the middle, so you can have a conductive boom, which is pretty cool. But just FYI for anybody listening out there, I did find that on the Arrow antenna website, if you pull up the page for like a particular antenna, say like you go to the Arrow 2 portables and then select like any one of those models, in the upper right there's a link that says instruction sheets, and if you go to that, there's a bunch of PDF files, and if you open the PDF file for the antenna that you're interested in, It'll give you all the dimensions, and it has pretty good drawings on there too. But yeah, that's cool about the arrow shafts. If you wouldn't mind, I didn't have a chance to scribble that down. Just tell me the name of that place again. This is N5LX RID.
Yeah, Sky. It's called Archery Country, and it's on 183, just about a block north of Lamar Boulevard on the right side as you're going north. N5 SMO.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to give it back to Net Control. That's really good information. Thanks. N5LX back to Net Control.
Anyone else have any comments or questions for Sky tonight?
N5WRW.
Go ahead.
One thing that might help when you're doing things out of arrow shafts is the way they're measured. Aluminum arrows are measured. You'll see them. They'll be like 1916s or 2013s, whatever. The second number is the wall thickness in thousandths, and the first number is the diameter of the arrow in 64ths. I don't know how that happened, but that's the way they are. Later on with carbon arrows and things, that all changed, but aluminum arrows are still the same thing. They run as small as maybe 14 64ths, and the biggest ones I know about are 25 or so. So, that may end up being a thing. So the inserts will match and fit and so on and so forth.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dwight. Sounds like you're an archer from the days back in the day. So I got all that down. That's good information. Thanks.
It dates back. It's Easton, that makes aluminum baseball bats and things, and they were the original aluminum arrow company. And he won all kinds of tournaments because they were far superior to wooden arrows. You got a lot more speed for the same poundage of bow. So that, he started out that way. And yeah, I was a competitive archer at one point. I shot the national indoor and used to go down to College Station for tournaments. And in those days, we had to wear all white to be at a sanctioned tournament. So I looked like Moby Dick's cousin.
Yeah, I think I heard you talking about archery the other night. That's pretty interesting. I'll have to check into the net and catch you next time. You can tell us some stories.
Yeah, it was fun. I got to shoot right next to somebody who was on the Olympic team and a bunch of stuff like that.
All right, this is N5LX Friday.
Okay, does anyone else have anything for Sky tonight? All right, Sky, great talking to you. Good luck with that beam antenna project. Let's move on now to our Vice President, Ernesto. Good evening, Ernesto. How are you?
This is KI5PZN. Hey, Steve, thank you for running the net, and hello to everybody listening and participating as well. Let's see, been on 40 meters, been using 40 meters quite a bit in mornings and evenings. Enjoying the band, just talking to a bunch of guys, and it's a really good one for that, for just sitting there and chatting for a while. So I'm liking that one. Let's say I didn't get a chance tonight to get on the CW net, so that's a bummer there, but hopefully by next week I'll be able to jump in. Thinking about doing another get-together probably in a couple of weeks, so keep an eye on Discord. I'll post whatever we come up with. Let's see, we got the traveling tackle net, on the last Friday of this month. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. We're going to be crashing Rust Displays for the first one, then we're going to go visit Randy for the second one. Let's see. And, reminder, also on the Waterloo Ice House breakfast every Saturday at 8 a.m. That's on 8600 Burnett Road. And I just wanted to, I have a friend also, it's in Newham. He's been trying to get on the air, but we've been having issues. He's got a couple of HD, but if in case you hear like low signal or something like that tonight, he's been trying to check in. It's Brent KJ5 Charlie Zulu. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it, but he's trying his best over there, messing around with his HD, trying to make it to the repeater. That's about it, man. Once again, I appreciate you running the net. And, good hearing everybody on the net as well. Back to net control. This is KI5PZN.
Hey, Ernesto, a couple of quick questions. On your 40 meters, are you doing any DX on that, or is it all invis, kind of the good old, Texas rag chew group? And then the second thing, I don't think I've ever heard of the Taco Net before, so other than just showing up, is that on a channel somewhere on Discord, or is that in the calendar on n50ak.org, or where would we find out more about that? Over.
All right, well, yeah, the 40 meters, usually it's a round table on 7133, a bunch of guys who speak Spanish, and it's from all the way from like California to the East Coast, and then down to the Caribbean, South America, and every place in between. So it's a good big group of guys out there, and I think they've been doing that round table for like more than 12 years, and it's like every single day. Let's see. The other question was the traveling. Oh, you also have a question for the night as well. I forgot about that. So I would say the first day with double digits is going to be at the end, towards the end of September the 30th. And then the traveling taconet. So I came up with this silly idea of going to other operators' places, QTH, I guess I should say, and then running a net and bringing tacos. This is the last Friday of each month. And I'll bring tacos, and we get to hang out and talk about all kinds of stuff, and talk to people as well. And then I'll, if anybody interested, I guess the requirement is that you have either a mobile radio or a base radio with good reach to the repeater. That's all. And yeah, just send me an email if you're interested. We'll get ready have this month and September covered. We'll see how it goes. But we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. But it should be pretty relaxed and fun. Hopefully it will be a success. Back to you.
Well, to me, tacos is really the only food group that even matters. It's not just a favorite food group. It's just a matter of nothing else comes close. So I'm kind of in on that one. All right. Does anybody else have anything for Ernesto tonight? Well, Ernesto,
N5LX.
the subject would spar quite a bit of discussion, but I would be happy to talk with you about tacos for any amount of time later on or different net. Anyway, thanks for giving us the club news tonight, and thanks for dropping in. And we will move on now to KG6PKP Jury.
This is Jerry, KG5PKP. I just been busy and not much going on except just busy running here and there and yonder.
Well, Jury, sorry I got your call sign wrong there. I've replaced it in my log with that 6 from a 5. I thought maybe you were from I don't know where the 6s would be. I guess west of here someplace. Anyway, you got any kind of guess as to when we'll see a high temperature that's under 100 degrees in central Texas?
Well, I'm going to go with September the 15th.
All right, I'm writing all these down. Anything else you want to share with the group tonight?
Yes, I have a question. last week when I was on here, they gave me that the call number. I mean, the frequency numbers for that Hayes, Caldwell County repeater over in Kyle. I somehow lost that, and I've been busy this week, hadn't had a chance to get it programmed in, but I'm going to try next week, and if I could get that, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to lay my microphone down and listen.
All right, I was in Colorado Springs last Thursday, and I actually did kind of try to check into the link, into the net on Echolink, but didn't have a lot of success. Anyway, so is anybody here last Thursday that knows what Kyle repeater information that jury's looking for? Come on now with your name and call sign.
KB5MPJ.
Go ahead.
So that repeater is 147.050. I'd have to look. You'd have to give me a minute to look up the tone, but it is 147.050.
Okay, that's good enough. I'll look up the tone, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna back on out of here. I've got to go in. I've got some things I've got to do, so I'm gonna say 73s to y'all. God bless you, and y'all have a very nice week. And God willing, I'll try to catch you next Thursday.
Great talking to you, jury. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next Thursday. All right, let's move on to Dwight in Buda. Dwight? All right, Dwight might have had to step away for a second, so let's move on now. I've got KG5AZP. I didn't get the name, I apologize, but the mic's yours.
It's Jim, KJ5AZP. Just thought I'd drop in using a different method of getting in through All-Star because not wanting to stand out in 10,000 degree heat. For your question, I'm going to guess, honestly, middle of October. I don't know why I have a feeling of that, but yeah, middle of October for the below 100.
All right, Kim, looks like you're in pretty good company. We got a couple others that are around middle of October. I think our earliest date so far has been August 23rd. A couple of Septembers, and then some Octobers. All right, well, anything else going on?
Not really. It's Jim, Juliet, India, Mike. Just trying to stay cool is all. That's all I can really say.
Sorry about that, Jim. I think I've got your call sign and your name correct. All right, well, does anybody have anything for Jim tonight? Come on now with your name and your call sign.
KI5PZN.
Go ahead, Ernesto.
Hey, Jim, it's good to hear you on the net and on the radio. I was wondering two things. Is this the first time that you get on the air? I guess three things. Is this the first time you check into the net? And third is, are you using your HT? Back to you.
Not right now. Cheating through the miracle of the internet. But this is my second time trying to check into this net. I think. I know I tried to check into Sunday nights, but I don't remember exactly. And, but right now I'm not using the HT because it's air conditioned where I am and I have to be outside for it to even hit it. So that's going to be another fun project eventually, figuring out an antenna situation for me, but we'll get there. One thing at a time.
Well, very cool, man. I'm glad to hear that you're making it to the net. Have you been using the radio pretty often? Back to you.
Yeah, I have. Getting better about wanting to join in the Slacker chat that I see going on, but haven't had a chance yet to throw my call out there on the way home from work, but eventually we'll do that. KJ5AZP.
Well, right on, Jim. Again, welcome to the hobby. Glad to hear you here, and say hi to Chloe. Hopefully we'll see you guys on Saturday. Back to net. This is KI5PZN.
All right, does anybody else have anything for Jim tonight? Well, Jim, great hearing from you. Yeah, absolutely. Go out there on those strange nets where you don't know anybody and throw your call sign out there. I know it can be kind of scary or maybe a little intimidating or whatever, but I think the amateur radio, I'm only in my second year, so I'm still a newcomer, and it's been a nicer group of people than I've met in pretty much any other hobby. So, and don't worry about not having your stuff right. I'm being your net control tonight from inside my house with my J-pole antenna hanging from a ceiling fan chain. So I'm definitely not set up professional either, and yet it all works. So great hearing from you, and have a good evening.
Sounds good. Thanks. KJ5AZP.
Let me do a station ID. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday Night Net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club. Call sign N50AK. All right, we just got through with Jim, and let's move on to Brandon now in South Austin. Brandon, when do you think we'll see a high of 99?
That's a great question. I'm kind of hopeful that it'll be the first week of September. Yeah.
I think that sounds pretty good. What else is going on?
Not too much. I've got to travel a bit for work next week, and I was kind of thinking about flying back through Huntsville, potentially, to try to go to that Ham Fest, which is supposed to be a pretty good Ham Fest. I'm curious if anybody on the net has experience with the Huntsville Ham Fest, or anyone's planning to go, K5VMR.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have some people fill us in on that. I know I've heard of the Belton one. I've never been to a Ham Fest, so I think that would be great. And yeah, I traveled. I actually took a pleasure trip to Colorado Springs for all of 4 days last week. But before that, I was in Phoenix for work. So if you don't think it can get worse than here, it can get worse than here, and Phoenix would be worse. All right, so let's see. Can anybody address Brandon's question about the Ham Fest in Huntsville, or does anybody have anything else for Brandon?
And 5SMO.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I would definitely go if you get a chance. It's probably the third biggest one in the country behind Hamcation and Dayton. It's a good one, and it's good people. A lot of manufacturers are there. DX Engineering is always there, and all the other big ones. So yeah, definitely go. And also in Birmingham, not too far away, the Barber Motorsports Park and Museum is there. If you're into racing stuff, that's also an awesome place to visit. Back to net and 5SMO.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Bill. Silly me, of course, I thought we were talking about Huntsville, Texas. So that's once again, it's always so much to learn in this craft. All right, anybody else have anything for Brandon?
November 5, Yankee Alpha, November.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if you're going to Huntsville, definitely check out all the NASA stuff down there. It's a real cool aerospace city. I don't think I'd visit any other part of Alabama other than Huntsville. Probably. It's pretty neat. I went once a long time ago, and it was fun. Back to net. N5YAN.
All right, thanks for that. Anybody else have anything for Brandon tonight? Well, great, Brandon. Have a good trip. I hope you do get to make that stop off. Again, I was thinking about a really cool weekend road trip from here in Austin, but it looks like I probably won't be making it over to that Huntsville. Best of luck to you and safe travels. All right, let's now talk to the king of ham radio in Fort Hood, Cody, KF5YLS. What's going on, Cody?
What's going on, Steve? This is KF5YLS, Cody from Fort Hood, Killeen area. I've got me and my grandmother sitting here. She's listening in. She just had foot surgery yesterday. So we're on the Discord. We're on video. So if y'all ain't in the Discord video to come see her and say hi, then what are y'all doing? Not a whole lot's been going on with me. Had the house to myself Tuesday night, so I literally spent all night streaming. I literally ran for 12 hours. Somehow I did it. It was good at first, but hell towards the end. And then, let's see what else. Just been making a lot of TikTok and YouTube content and taking care of my grandmother and our dog and trying to keep my mother, trying to slowly turn my mother insane because that's my job as my son. And drinking a lot of Dr. Pepper, because if y'all hadn't seen, I put a picture in the Discord. Let me reset real quick. I put a picture in the Discord of my mini fridge that was almost completely stocked in Dr. Pepper, and said that they need to sponsor me already, which I would totally be down for. But other than that, not a whole lot's been going on, just making content like always, and I have an interview tomorrow for a second job, possibly, a work-from-home job, and just been hanging out at the computer. That's about it. And I did get my results back from my GED. I took a test on Tuesday, and let me reset and I'll tell you the results. I took a test on Tuesday. I took math and science. I didn't pass math by 2 points, but I did pass science by 1 point. So now I don't have to worry about math anymore, or science anymore, and I gotta retake my math. So that's as far as I know so far. Back to Nick.
Well, Cody, congratulations on that science. Sounds like you made some real progress there on the GED, and sounds like you're really close on the math, which seems to be the thing that hangs most folks up on that test. I guess, real quick question. I haven't been on the net in a couple of weeks. You're looking for another job. I guess the other job did not pan out. Over.
So, if you mean the Chipotle job, it's still there. I'm still working at Chipotle. However, they put me on weekends only, and even that they're cutting back. So some weeks I'm only getting 1 day a week, and I can't make a living on 1 day a week. So I'm trying to find a second job, and like I said, I got the interview tomorrow for a stay-at-home, or well, not stay-at-home, but a work-from-home. With financial aid or whatever, something like that. And so that's, yeah, I got that tomorrow, but I still have the Chipotle job. They just are hardly working me, so gotta find something else.
Well, that's a bummer that they cut your hours, man. I wish you the best of luck on finding that second job. Keep it up. Keep up the search there. All right, does anyone have anything for Cody tonight?
KC3 NAG.
Go ahead.
Hey, Cody. Congrats on working on your GED, man. That's really cool. I like math to a certain extent, and then I don't like it. So, I don't know. Just work on it, man.
What's going on, Andy? Yeah, I actually fully prepared myself to walk into that test and pass the math with flying colors, and absolutely just bomb science, because going through school, I hated science. I did everything I could to possibly skip my science class. Anything that was related to science, I just didn't do it. I could care less. So the fact that it was completely opposite and I failed my math and passed my test, or passed my science, I still can't understand what kind of magic sorcery that happened there, but something happened. But at least I don't have to worry about the science anymore. But yeah, I understand what you mean, because when I sat down and took the math and science test, the whole time I was taking the test, I was like, I have met once in my 22 years and like 3 years of being out of school now, and not once had needed to use this kind of math or this kind of science. And it was just a test filled of stuff like, I'm never going to use this stuff. Why am I having to test on it? Back to Ned, though.
Well, Cody, never say never. I went to college in the mid-'80s and then worked as a lawyer for almost 30 years and then took a job with the state 30 years after school and took some statistics classes in college, and guess what? I ended up in a job where I needed to know statistics, so don't ever say never, man. Anyway, good luck to you. I guess let me check real quick. Anybody else have anything else for Cody? All right, Cody. Well, have a good evening and a good weekend, and good luck on the job hunt. And just keep studying up on that math. I'm sure you'll get it the second time. All right, let's move on to David in North Campus.
Howdy. As for the temperature thing, I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess, just based on my campus, my experience walking around UT. I think the temperature usually goes under 100 by late August, so August 20th or so, maybe at the latest early October. So that's my guess. I haven't been up to much, just moving boxes, and now that I'm all settled, I realize how much stuff I have, and it has been quite daunting unpacking all of it into this quite small apartment. I mean, it's actually not that small. There's just not very many places to put things that isn't the floor. So I've been having to get creative, and it's kind of fun. It's like a big problem you got to solve. Where do you put all this junk? And yeah, that's about it. November 5, Yankee Alpha November, back to net.
All right, David, just curious, I don't think I've heard your story. Where were you moving from and to, and why? And I mean, change of job, or just curious? Over.
Yeah, well, I'm just a student here down at UT, and my previous roommate wanted to move in with his significant other, so I got kicked out, and just basically moved off across the street, but my parents were busy, so it was lugging one box across the street at a time. Even at night, I was sweating. It was bad, but you got to do what you got to do, and all the boxes are moved. I cleaned down my old place, and they inspected it, and I will not get fined for any damages because I took good care of the old place. Apologies, I just ate, and I'm having trouble speaking for some reason. Back to net.
Yeah, man, that sounds pretty rough. Anytime you're moving in Texas in the summer, but especially this summer, yeah, even nighttime's not really a break. Okay, well, does anybody have any questions or comments for David tonight? Come on now with your name and your call sign. Well, David, good luck settling in, and I guess starting a new semester here pretty quickly. Best of luck in your studies. Let's go back up now into the list. We called out for Dwight in Buda, N5WRW. Dwight, did you make it back to your radio?
Yeah, I did. I was trying to get the tone for that 050 radio, and I'm sorry I missed you. For the antenna building people, check the Yagi Uda article in Wikipedia. It's really good. It's got some kind of cool animations on it, and I noticed that the Yagi was invented. It's 95 years ago, in 1928. So it's been around a while. There were a couple of professors from Japan, Yagi and Uda, and I've read the original paper for it too. So that exists somewhere on the internet. You can find it. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, the proof is in the pudding, right? They work extremely well. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you knew where the name came from, but I'm glad you covered that information. Do you have any guesses tonight for us as to when we'll be out of the hundreds as our high temperatures?
Well, I'll pick my dad's birthday, September 13th, but I've lived in Texas for 40 years, and the only date that I ever really had any confidence in was November 1st.
You are so right, Dwight. I've lived here my whole life, 57 years, and I have distinct memories of dragging my kids around in a wagon in the 80s and 90s for Halloween, doing trick-or-treating in shorts, just sweating my tail off. So, yeah, I think November 1st may even be a little conservative on when it actually cools down here. But I read something this week that said normal first time we get below 100 is around August 30th, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. I'm going to have to guess it goes a little further out. Anything else going on with you and ham radio or otherwise?
No, just trying to work on some antennas and get my HF going. I got the coax run, got the antenna bolted to the mast, and now I got to run the wire for the end-fed half-wave thing. Yeah, I can remember our old house, we had a swimming pool, and we used to go swimming on Christmas.
Yeah, it makes total sense for Texas. All right, great. Well, does anyone have any comments or questions for Dwight tonight? All right, Dwight, we're a little quiet tonight. Hope you are doing well on your antenna projects, and again, I hope that the folks that guessed earlier for the 99 temperatures, although it seems pretty sad that that's what we're looking forward to now, but I hope that they're right, and we'll catch you next week on the net. So let's do a station ID. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday night net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N508K. Let's go ahead now to our second round of regular check-ins. If you've been listening and haven't checked in to the net tonight for a short timer and got to come back with us, come on now with your name and your call sign. Would really appreciate that call sign slowly and phonetically. That's kind of something I just seem to always struggle with. So come on now with your name and your call sign.
This is. This is KB5MPJ, Kilo Bravo 5, Mike Papa Juliet, Jason Buda.
This is Kilo 3, November Alpha Golf, Randy, Anderson Mill, coming in on the flagship, 320.
All right, we got Jason and Randy in the log here. Anybody else want to check in on this second round?
This is November 8th, India Juliet, Ignacio Visitor.
All right, anybody else for this second round? Okay, Jason, how's it going over in Buda?
This is KB5MPJ. Yeah, it's going well. As far as radio projects, the latest thing is to try to figure out why I'm getting a lot of QRM on 40 and 20 meters, especially 40. I figured out that it's not coming from inside the house because I turned off all the power and it was still there. So I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do about it, if anything, and how to track it down and all that. And other than that, just been doing a little bit of HF and, got on Southside Simplex, did the CWNet. And, that's pretty much what I've got radio-wise. And then I'm going to say September 15th for the date that it'll get below 100. Back to net control.
Yeah, Jason, hopefully we'll have some thoughts on your QRM issue. Again, all my stuff's external. When I'm doing HF, I'm always outside. Not so much fun this time of the year. But anyway, good luck on that. And September 15th sounds, I can kind of live with that, I think. All right, well, does anybody have anything for Jason tonight? Well, Jason, I haven't been on 146.555 in a long time. Has there been some activity on Tuesdays? Over.
Yeah, there was a lot this Tuesday. Last week, I think it was pretty quiet. There might have been 3 of us that checked in, so it just kind of depends. Like sometimes it's just 1 or 2 people, and other times it's a round table that goes late into the night. So it's always worth checking. Starts about 8 o'clock, and sometimes people check in late or pop in late, so it's worth trying again later, or if you don't get home till later or something, go ahead and give it a try, even if it's like, 10:30 or 11, just see if anybody's there. KB5MPJ.
Yeah, I can hit the repeater really well from my upstairs with my J-pole hanging from the ceiling fan, but have not had much luck on Simplex. But I've got a 3-band Yagi that I can put up outside, but I just really don't want to be outside, even at 8 o'clock this time of year. So I will catch you guys as soon as it cools off a little bit. Over.
Yeah, Roger, you could, I don't know what, your situation is with running feed lines and all that, but maybe you could, just run a feed line into your shack or something and put up that Yagi. What part of town are you in?
I'm in Dripping Springs, and I'm on a pretty good-sized hill. And yeah, the feed line project is just something that I'm in a second story. My shack's up a little office in a second story of a home. It's just a matter of getting up in the attic and figuring out, am I going to go through the soffit vents or what to get the line outside. I just haven't done it, and when it cools off, I tend to like to go camping and do other things, and I've just been lazy about doing it. And then when it's hot, I don't want to be in the attic. So hopefully this fall I'm gonna conquer that. Over.
Yeah, it would be worth putting up the Yagi, or you could just put up a J-pole or something outside, because we do have people that check in from Dripping Springs and Wimberley, and some of them are just using regular, like J-poles or collinear antennas or whatever kind of, omnidirectional antennas they've got, and they're still able to get in.
All right, well, that sounds like a plan. Maybe I'll just throw it up this next Tuesday from indoors and see what happens. Do you have anything else for the net tonight?
No, that's it. Back to net, KB5MPJ.
All right, well, nice talking to you, Jason. Let's move over to Randy on Anderson.
Hey, y'all. KC3NAG. Randy. Haven't been up too much. Past week's pretty crappy. Dog was sick. Issues with my mom. I had to buy a new refrigerator. I had to buy a new iPad mini. I had to do my mom's taxes. I'm sure I'm leaving something out. But, there was some good DX, like, around the first of the month up until, I guess about the 6th. And, but it was like, it's wishy-washy. It's in and out, It might last for a couple hours. It might last half the night. But, I talked to this guy I know in Russia, this guy I know in Italy, made a nice contact in Wales, Canada's been all lit up, but been pretty quiet the last couple nights, but it's, you just never know, so, you don't know if you don't try, but that's about it from here. Back to net control.
Yeah, Randy, curious on all those, especially the intercontinental contacts, as to what bands you're having luck on, and again, understanding the bands are up and down, but what bands were you on when you made all those overseas contacts? Over.
Yeah, Roger, I left that out. I usually work in 40 meters, when it's open at night, and I'm up like most of the night anyway. But looking at my log, they were all 20 meters. Everything. Yeah, even Canada was 20 meters. And that was like Calgary. That's like 1,650 miles from Austin. So, that's still a pretty good haul. But yeah, everything was on 20 meters.
Well, that's pretty fantastic. I'm sorry I was traveling. I plugged into 20 meters yesterday afternoon and was really hitting some good contacts, in pretty foreign places within North America. A lot of states that I really haven't heard anything from ever before, because I tend to go sort of west and east with my antenna setup. But I was catching some folks up in the Midwestern states, North Dakota, some of the kind of central U.S. Northern states. So there was something kind of interesting going on with 20 meters yesterday afternoon. Over.
Yeah, for sure. It's just been like really weird. Like I guess we had like X-ray flares and all kinds of solar flares going on. So it's been wishy-washy. But so I've got an off-center fed dipole that's pointed north-south, and getting great off the north, which is not exactly what it should do. But getting onto the East Coast or the West Coast also was like absolutely no problem. It was just like people all over the place, and then it slowly disappears. But that's the game, man. KC3NAG.
Yep, if it were easy, it really wouldn't be any fun. All right, great, Randy. Thanks for nice talking to you. Thanks for checking in. Anybody have anything for Randy out in Anderson Mill tonight?
And 5SMO.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I'll second what he says. 20 meters is like now a great nighttime band. And if you get on 20 like about 11 p.m. to say about 2 or 3 in the morning here, it's within like, dawn like 9 a.m. across most of Europe. And early in the at night, all the band noise on our end goes away. You know, you could have I have S7 noise a lot of times during the day on 20 when we're facing the sun. But once the sun gets down there below the horizon, it drops to like S2 or S1. And if you can get to Europe, you know, when their sun's coming up over by them, and it's within a couple hours of dawn, the band hasn't gotten too noisy yet. That's the ticket, you know. It's just having the band noise low enough with all the solar activity, and that's assuming, you know, the KP index hasn't like totally disrupted the magnetic field and is causing some kind of blackout on a polar path or whatever. But other than that, most of the flare stuff is doesn't affect us too much when we're on the dark side. Back to net, N5SMO.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Jason, Randy, do you have any follow-up to what Bill had to say? Over.
No, I mean, like, I agree totally. And, you know, that's my prime time is like, you know, 11 till 3 or 4 in the morning here. And that's like, you know, all the contacts were like 5 or 6 o'clock UTC, which is, you know, would be pretty much their local time as they're getting up. So, yeah, it was fun. I hope it runs back around. I'm going to check it out tonight, see what's going on. KT3NAG, back to net control.
Man, I hate it when the answer is I just need to stay up later, but I get up at 5 every morning to start my work cycle, and I really respect you guys that can stick it out and stay up later. I just haven't mastered that craft yet. All right, does anybody else have anything for Randy tonight?
Just a comment there for you, Steve. Get up at 4, man. Get on the radio for 30 or 40 minutes before you go to work. You'll be surprised what you hear and how different the bands are compared to what you get during the day. N5SMO.
You know, Bill, that's a great idea. And actually, what I do, like right now, is we're at near peak on the Pleiades, and I'll go out and do some star watching at that time of the night. But you're right, I could totally easily. I typically leave my antennas up, even though it violates my HOA. But I'll typically leave my fiberglass pole up, and that's a good idea. I've actually never really thought about that before. I'm usually kind of just get up and I go out and kind of gel out with some stars, but that would be something that would be pretty easy to do. So thanks for that comment. Anybody else have any other comments or anything for Randy? Okay, Randy. Well, I'm sorry that you had some illness in your family, and super sorry you had to buy a refrigerator and an iPad and work on taxes in the same month. That kind of sounds like maybe something was out there working against you, but hopefully next month will be better, and we'll catch you next time on the net. Let's do a station ID. This is the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday Night Net, hosted by the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N50AK. I am the net controller tonight. My name is Steve, KI5UKF. And our next person we have on our second round of check-ins is Ignacio. And I got N8IJ, and I may not have got all that call sign. Ignacio?
Steve, how are you this evening? This is Ignacio, November 8th, India, Juliet. And I'm a visitor from abroad, way abroad, a long distance abroad. And I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just looking at some specifications of a project. I'm looking at integrated circuits I can use for doing fast Fourier transforms. So back to you, back to Greg.
All right, Ignacio, I apologize if you gave it, but you really enticed me with the long, far away stuff. Got to ask you, where's your QTH? And I'm getting quite a bit of noise, at least on my end, so I wasn't getting your signal perfectly, but just curious as to where you're traveling from. Over.
I'm visiting from Spain, from just north, a little town north of Valencia, Spain. Back to you.
Well, that's amazing. Have you made many do you work HF over in Spain near Valencia? And if so, have you made any contacts from this area? Over.
Yes. Excuse me. Quite a few. mostly because I used to live in this area 20 years ago. I have friends here, and on occasion we talk on HF. Although nowadays it's mostly cell phones. However, I'm starting to get into quite a bit into digital, hence my project, and I'm starting to call up some of my friends now using their DMR ID. Back to you.
Well, Ignacio, welcome to our network net tonight, and welcome to our club, and so glad that you checked in. Really nice talking to you, and have safe travels. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Ignacio tonight?
November 5, Yankee Alpha, November.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hey Ignacio. If you're looking for an integrated circuit to do fast Fourier transforms, I would definitely recommend looking into FPGAs. They're pretty easy to work with, at least for simple designs, but you can slowly work up to a complex design and it'll not be too bad. I tend to work with the Lattice semiconductor parts, or sometimes parts from Xilinx if I absolutely need to. I'm not a huge fan of Xilinx Vivado as a software package for development. And about you being from Valencia, my family originally comes from Toledo in Spain, and I should say part of my family. My family's all over the place, but yeah, it's neat to know that you're from Spain. I've heard you on the air a few times, and I did not know that. November 5, Yankee Alpha, November, back to you.
Well, Ignacio, did you have any comments in response to, I think that was David?
Yes, David, thank you very much. That's very helpful advice, and I will do that. We'll look into that. Yeah, it's over there. It's not as hot as it is here. Although there have been years where over there it's been hotter than here. So it comes and goes. Well, I'm going to let everyone be. I'm playing with my grandson who insists that I stop reading and play with him instead, and it's time to tuck him in. So everyone, have a great evening. 73, back to net, N8IJ, clear.
Ignacio, great meeting you, and hope to make your contact when you get back over to Spain. Have a good evening, and enjoy that time with that grandson. All right, let's do our third round now of regular check-ins. Third round, come on with your name and your call sign. Call sign, slow and phonetic. All right, one last call for regular check-ins, or anybody who's already checked in and talked. If you have anything else to add before we close up, this is the last call.
Net Control, this is Alpha India 5 Hotel Papa, AI 5 HP. Aaron and Peter with no traffic. Just want to say hi.
Well, hello, Aaron. Thanks for checking in. Good to hear from you. Anyone else? All right, well, looks like it's time to wrap up our net. I think it's been a good one. Had some good, lively discussions tonight. Thanks, everybody, for joining the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Thursday Night Net. This is a service of the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, call sign N50AK. We're right here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. We are a nonprofit based in Austin, Texas, and for more information, you can visit n50ak.org, where you can read about the club, sign up for our email list, or donate to support the continued growth of amateur radio. You should also consider joining our Discord group, where we stay in touch when we are not on the radio, and sometimes, like tonight, when we are on the radio. We would also like to thank Kyle, who was with us earlier tonight, KA5D, for linking the University Link repeater system to this net. I'm KI5UKF, Steve, and broadcasting from my QTH here in Dripping Springs, 73 to you all. Thanks for hanging out with us, and the system is now returned to regular amateur use.
slow down.
Break.